Hello, homies and haters. So JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Season 6, Stone Ocean, Episode 13, Smack of Love and Revenge, Part 1. In the flashback section, where one of the main characters, Hermes Costello, is thinking about the reason that she's in the situation she's in, her main driving force is her sister, and we get a flashback to her sister. And in that flashback, her sister, Gloria Costello, is wearing this really interesting sweater that I've not really seen anything like, and that is so Iraqi. It's just such an interesting sweater. It's a circular yoke cabled sweater with S-twists that go all the way down from being close together at the neck, to very far apart at the hem. And then at the bottom of the body, it's got this horizontal cable, which is very interesting. And typically when sweaters are drawn in anime, even if they do have texture on the body, the ribbing is just a square. And that is the case on the sleeves, but on the neck and on the hem, you can actually see that it's 3x1. And when I watched this episode with my brother, I wondered if there was, I wondered aloud if there was a pattern that was similar enough that I could make that. And I did find one. So the pattern I found was the Cable Yoke pattern by Carol Barrick, and it has a similar yoke. It's got S-twists going from the neck down to about the end of the yoke, with the increases between the cables. But the towards the end, the gap is filled by another set of cable twists. So and obviously the cables don't go down the entire body. So it's similar, and I think it's a good jumping off point to, make this pattern. And so I decided that I was going to knit this for my brother. And I obviously don't want to make it completely screen accurate because it is a tight-fitting crop top on an adult woman, and my brother is turning 15. So that's not going to work. So I am definitely going to go for a boxier fit, but otherwise I'm going to pull most of the design elements from the sweater that Gloria Costello is wearing rather than from the pattern. And so, full disclosure, at this point, I've already knitted the sweater, and it has been a few weeks. I am just barely editing this video. It has been quite a lot stuff to do. If you watched my Goosemas series, in one of those videos, I did actually cast on the sweater, in between projects, because I didn't have the yarn for one project, and I had already finished another. So I am just going to pick up from middle of December, and we're just going to finish the sweater at this point, is what we're doing. Okay, so I have finished all of the knitting on the collar, and like I mentioned in the last clip, I believe, it is a 3x1 rib. So this is in the neighborhood of 3 inches. I don't have a ruler, but I do know my 4 fingers are about 3 inches. So at this point, I am going to fold it down and treat my cast on as if it were stitches, and knit 2 together across, essentially across 2 needles, to attach the cast on to the working stitches, so it is folded in half, and we get that nice chunky rounded edge like she has in the anime or the manga, both. I'm pretty sure that character only shows up once, and so that is the only outfit she wears. But after that, I am going to go ahead and start the increases in the cables. So I will check in once I got more progress. So I got 4 cable rows done, 5 actually. 5 increase rows done on the sweater. And I was switching to new needles, so I figured I'd try it on, and it's way too narrow. I don't understand how this is supposed to, maybe my row gauge is off? I don't know. But if I try and put it on, the collar does not sit where it's supposed to. The collar fits just fine, but the collar's supposed to be down here, and just there's just not enough fabric for it to go over shoulders, which I don't understand. So I'm gonna go back to the beginning, and rather than doing this, I'm going to do my circular yoke. So I only use the other pattern to cast on. And then everything after that is going to end up being my own pattern. Because I have made circular yokes before. And I did think, wow, I don't know if these increases are frequent enough, but this is a professional pattern. They probably know what they're doing. Not only is this not big enough for me, but this is also going to be for a man. And he's got broader shoulders than I do. So it's not going to fit him. So I get to restart. Better to restart now than in 2 weeks when I only have a week left. So I am going to yeah, this pattern was really silly because it doesn't have you start your increases until about 4 rows from the collar. You do some increases right after the collar, but it's just to get the stitch counts right. It's not enough to cause it to flare. So I'm going to have to do some math on this to get it correct, which is going to be annoying because I'm... So I have been working on the sweater and I am this far. I am not quite to where I was before. It's looking a bit better now, but I'm having trouble focusing because I am just really craving a plank right now. I'm not sure why, but like I have this urge in my body to just do a plank. Usually I get these cravings to like do some sort of exercise and I either have no way to fulfill them or doing them would hurt me worse than not doing them, and they go away after a while. But I don't see a reason why I can't just do a plank. So I'm gonna take a break from knitting and do a plank, and I will report back in after I have done said plank. Excuse my hair, I am having a morning. It's almost noon. I'm having a morning. So I am back up to where I was before, and this is how it's spreading out. It looks a lot better but I have not tried it on yet, which I'm going to do right now. Okay, so it's still a little high, but that's just because the collar's thick. That's gonna happen. Her collar is like under her chin, so I don't think that matters, but the sweater part, the yoke, is sitting a lot nicer and a lot flatter, and it's all around looking better. I think my brother's gonna really like this, or at least get a chuckle out of it. If he doesn't wear it, it becomes mine. So, and I would love a cable sweater like this. I'm actually thinking about knitting one for myself, but I don't have yarn yet. So I'll have to get yarn for my own sweater later. And I don't care about knitting patterns twice, and this is so drastically different from the other pattern that I might just write this up. Yeah, because I had to rechart it, I had to everything. These cables, while they are the same type of cable, they twist at a completely different rate, and the increases are in a different spot, and it's just, this is not the same sweater anymore. Which I did say before I frogged it, was that I basically was no longer, I used the cast on counts and that's it. So yeah, if I do write it up, which I probably will, if I do write it up, I am going to take a lot from, not a lot from the pattern, but like for how they graded it for the different sizes, and so I'm not going to charge for the pattern. I'm literally just going to post it. Which I've been trying to get into pattern writing, and every pattern writer that I like has like 1 or 2 free patterns that they posted first before they started. And I know that is not like across the board normal, but like maybe the Label, who's like one of my favorite designers, she has the Lana Lacey skirt, which hopefully is still free because I lost my copy of it, but it at least was free when I got the pattern. But I'm rambling. Anyways, I've got it on 2 cables right now, and I put my largest cable in to try it on, but I'm at the end of it, so I'm probably just going to keep it on the largest cable, which is the 40-inch. So I am going to keep knitting on this. The increases get a little wonky from here, but I am going to take my notes, because at this point in my personal pattern is where I would start knitting straight down. But that's not enough. I think I would do 1 more row of increases and then knit straight down from there, but that's not enough gap between here. And so I'm going to do at least a few more increases, like the pattern recommends, just kind of incorporate that increase style into my pattern's increase rate, and then see where we end up. So that's the plan, and it's time to actually knit it and get my day started. I've done nothing today. I need to get up and get moving. Hello and Happy New Year. it is January 1st, and I have split for the sleeves. Literally just barely. Um, I'm so happy with how that looks. I had my brother try it on before I split for sleeves, and it's so sick. It looks like her sweater, and more than that, it looks like something a JoJo character would wear. So it's just, I'm so happy with this. But at this point, I've been helical knitting, because, as I will have said in the opening that I have not filmed yet, none of my yarns are the exact same color. They're all slightly off, so I've arranged them from lightest to darkest. This is my lightest. This is what I knit the collar with and have been helical knitting all the way down. And this is how much I have left of that. And then this is my second lightest. So we're still doing pretty good on yarn, but at this point, it's not a super big deal, but I really want to have the color change and in roughly the same place on the body and sleeves. So I'm going to go ahead and divide my yarn. So I'm going to divide it in half, and then half will be for the body, and then the second half I'm going to then further divide in half. So a quarter of the yarn I have left for each sleeve, which does mean that the color change is going to be lower on the sleeve just because sleeve math, but half is a lot easier to split than 2/3 or 5/8 or whatever it comes out to for body versus sleeves. And the sleeve is going to be longer than the body anyways, because my brother wants it like right at his mid-hip. He doesn't want it like really long, and he likes his sleeves long. So I'm going to divide my yarn, and then I'm going to knit on the body until I run out of my lightest color, and then I'm going to pick up and do the sleeves. And hopefully I can get a lot done, because at this point right now, as of today, I have 2 weeks to get this completely done. And I've made some pretty good progress for having not really worked on this before a week ago. But last time I thought a cable sweater was going to take me like 2 or 3 weeks. It ended up taking me 2 months. So I really need to buckle down and get this done. I have been using my stitch markers that I got for Christmas, and for all of my, there is a chocolate stain on the part I'm about to show you. It's not a stain. It'll come out, but I can't wash this just yet. So it's there, and I'm warning you, but I'm about to show you my stitch markers. I'm using Anastasia Pink. I used for all of my collar increases, and then to mark my cable twists, I have Jolene Green. And then I'm going to continue using Jolene Green for the cable twists on the arms as well, but I have to pick a new color for my decreases, and the lighting in here sucks, so you can't actually see what those colors are. But I don't really have any that are like exact JoJo colors, other than those two. So, I mean, I'm sure someone is bright blue. I just can't think of off the top of my head. But what's really nice about the Anastasia Pink and the Jolene Green is that Hermes, Gloria's sister, the main character, or one of the main characters, she wears a lot of green and has green lipstick, and her stand is bright pink. So it's Kiss Pink and Kisses Green. which is really funny, but completely unnecessary color coding, but it just tickles me. And it's the first time I've had enough of these stitch markers to be able to color code so that I can at a glance know what is where, which is going to really help when it comes to writing out the pattern. I'm also taking notes. Like I've so many notes, but just like being able to see specifically in very bright colors where I've made increases, how far apart my cable rows are, decreases, all that is just extremely, extremely nice, satisfying, and helpful. But I am going to get to work, and I will check in later. So I've officially finished color A, and this is where we are. You can't really tell because it's scrunched, but I got about 2.5 inches under the arm done. And I still have a bunch of the second color, and I have the yarn for the sleeves. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to pick up for the sleeves, and I'm going to knit until I run out of the second color. So once I run out of the first color, I'm going to join on the third color, knit that haligly, and then once I run out of the second color, I am going to go back to the body and knit until I run out of the second color on there, and then do it that way. I'm pretty sure I'm going to run out of the second color before too long, but if I don't, if I get like really close to the cuff and then I'm still got plenty of yarn in the second color, then I'm just gonna move to the body at that point, because I want it to be cohesive. But I'm going to knit with double pointed needles because I don't really have any sleeve length cables for my interchangeables, and I just like knitting on double pointeds, and these are not these. The ones that were in here in this pack were silver, and I had a blue set, a pink set, and a gold set, and the pink set came in a pink pack. The gold set came in a gold pack, but the blue set was loose and the silver set was in here. So I put the silver set into my bag of 8s and put the blue set in here. I just got these at an antique store. They just had like a big bag of double pointed knitting needles they gave to me for like $1, which is pretty cool. But so I'm gonna go ahead and pick that up and work on it, and probably watch some more YouTube. And I will check in when I have some progress. Don't mind my everything. Today has been a day, but I am 7 inches into the first sleeve, and I had my brother try it on, and I took measurements for this, and while I was taking measurements, I did not take them on my brother's body, because when I asked him how long he wanted his sleeve, he pulled out a shirt that he likes the fit of and says, I really like the length that this sleeve comes to. So I just measured the sleeve, wrote it down, all that. But because I'm this far, I wanted to check also That is looking so good. You can tell, maybe not in this lighting, but you can tell where the third color comes in. So I will see how bad it is when it's all done. I'm hoping, because I'm helically knitting, it just kind of like fades down and you can't even tell. But right now I can tell. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that yet. Or if I'm going to do anything at all. Anyways, but I wanted to check the width of it. And so I took it over and I put it on a holder. And I had my brother try it on. And it is past his elbow. I've knit 7 inches. And I've looked at the numbers a couple times. And I remember thinking, wow, you know, that's a long sleeve. Because I normally knit my sleeves to about 17 inches, and that's bracelet length on me, and my brother's not that much taller than me, but he wanted his sleeves 20 inches total. And I was thinking, wow, that's a bit much. I know my brother prefers bracelet length usually, but you know, maybe he likes kitty paws or sweater paws, and I just didn't realize. So I had it on him, and I asked him, how much longer do you want it? And he said he wants it the length of his shirt. And then I said, okay, well, where does your shirt hit? And he's like, oh, right at the bottom of my palm. So I had him put on his shirt. It has a button cuff. It's a dress shirt. It hits him right there. And then has about 4 extra inches just loose lengthwise. I pulled it all the way out. 4 inches is an exaggeration. I pulled it all the way out and it went from here to here. And so I asked him again. I'm like, okay, where do you want the sleeves to sit? And I only need 5 more inches. So 5 more inches before the cuff. Then I'm gonna have him try it on again because I want a 2-inch cuff. So he only needed 14 inches. I'm probably wrong about how long my sleeves are. I am. I knit mine to 12 inches. I don't know why I said 17. So 12 inches. 12 inches versus 20. Obviously, that's a big difference. But he only needs 14 inches on this. So I have significantly less knitting to do. And I will show you where I am on color 2. If I can even find it. The ball is lost in my bag. That's where I am on color 2. So I'm gonna run out of this by the end, but I'm gonna be so close to the end when I finally do that I'm just gonna put on color 3 or color 4 and finish the sleeve, and then I'm gonna do a lateral braid to simulate the like harsh line she has between her sleeve and her cuff, because that really cool horizontal cable design that's on the hem is not on her sleeves, but I want to echo that, and I also want that harsh, almost seamed line between the sleeve and the cuff. And I kind of wish I had done a lateral braid around the neckline, but it is way too late to change that now. And I like the neckline. It looks good. The fact that it's hot. It's hot. I'm taking off my cardigan. The fact that the collar is folded over and stitched down already makes enough of a separation, but I am not folding over any of the hems. So I'm going to do a lateral braid in color 4, and then I'm just going to do the cuff solid color 4, like how I did the neckline solid color 1. And then that's not going to use up much yarn at all. So I'm just going to knit the second sleeve, and then the body is going to come down to how much yarn I have left over. Which I still have plenty. Like, I've barely cracked into color 3, and I have not at all touched color 4. So, like, color 4 is not very big. But it's enough, I'm pretty sure. And if not, I've got other yarns I can helically knit in, and then just, I don't know, worry about it. So I'm making pretty good progress. I am loving how this sweater is looking, by the way. Like, that is awesome. That looks so good. I wish I had worked harder when I split the sleeves to get the cables exactly where I wanted them. But I don't hate it. It looks cool. And it's never going to be the exact same as her sweater. Because I'm not making an anime. I'm not drawing. This is, I have to work with real world limitations, and if I wanted my cables like she had hers, I would have like 60 stitches between each cable, and then the cables would be like 10 stitches wide. So that's never going to happen. Maybe one day I will try and make like a 1-to-1 dupe, but that's not something that'll happen right now, because the sleeves will get a lot wonky. But I'm very happy with this. I'm very happy with how it is going, and I am going to continue working on this. Sleeve done. I'm not entirely happy with the cuff, but I know it is what my brother is looking for, so I will just have to change this for the written pattern. But I am so happy with the cable into the lateral braid. That just looks so sick. It's just so cool. So now I just have the rest of the sweater to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick up for the second sleeve, and then I have my stitch counts written down, so I should be able to hit it exactly. And I only have a week and a half to get this done. This sleeve took me 3 days, but that was 3 days where I had to do other things. But this upcoming week is going to be busy also. So I'm thinking it doesn't actually matter if I finish this in time for my brother's birthday, because he knows he's getting it. He's seen it. He's tried it on. So if it's late, that's fine. Which gives me more time to double check gauge and write up the pattern, or get all the notes I need for the pattern, make sure I haven't missed anything, and also block it. And quite possibly, if I need it, give it a toning bath, which I'm not certain will work, but I'm willing to try. So I still have, obviously because I didn't use much, plenty of both yarns, but I have started, and this is perhaps completely nonsensical of me, worrying that I won't have enough yarn. I do have other creams, other off-whites. I don't know that they will look good with it, but if worse comes to worse, I can just dye this a different color. I'm sure my brother wouldn't care. I had him go through Pinterest long before this, because I just like to have an idea of like what my siblings are into, and when like they're like right at the beginning of their teen years, like right on that edge there, their style can change so drastically overnight. Pretty much all through the teen years, their style can change very drastically. Not so much with adults. So I like to check in and make sure I know like where his style and where his interests are. So I had him go through Pinterest and save a bunch of clothing items or just aesthetic things that interested him, and explain to me what he liked about them. And one of the things that he's been saving a lot of, pretty much anything he saved that was wearable, was two things. One, it had eyes on it. And two, it was a white cabled sweater. Or sweater vest or cardigan. So I know that this is something that he's been wanting. But I don't think he'll care that it's not white, but that's also a conversation I can have with him later. So, I'm rambling now. I'm going to pick up those sleeves and I will hopefully get this done in time. But if not, who cares?
Yare yare da wa.
So I have finally finished both sleeves. I actually finished these a couple days ago and still need to weave in my ends, but I am obsessed with that cuff. I believe I already showed it off, but I just can't stop looking at it. It's so good. So I've been knitting around on the body, and this is how far I am. Probably about 5 inches or so. And I have officially reached the end of color number 2. And I don't think I'm going to have enough yarn between the last 2 colors. So, this is how much I have left of color number 3. And here's color number 4. And this is how much I have left of that. If I get to the end of color number 2 and I feel like I'm not near enough to the bottom for this to hold out, I have found this. Now this is a lot cooler, and I'm going to say something that's going to sound contradictory, but the camera's not picking it up well enough, so it's both a lot cooler and a lot more yellow. It's less of a warm cream and more of a cool light tan. And I don't know if that, or I guess it's less of a warm off-white and more of a cool cream, if that makes sense, if I'm describing that right. But it's not too terribly off in color, especially in the context of this and the fact that I will be helically knitting it as well. I'm hoping I don't have to use it, but I have 3 balls of this. So if it really comes down to it, I definitely will have enough of this to finish the sweater. Which is a little sad because there's none of this on the sleeves. But I don't think that matters because the body, after retaking the sleeve measurements and actually having my brother try it on, the body is going to be significantly longer. And I don't think I'm going to be using this until I get to that applied cable and the ribbing. So that is like a distinctly separate, like that's a point of separation. So it really doesn't matter because there's nothing to match that on the sleeve. So I don't think it'll matter as much if it's not a color that shows up on the sleeves. Hopefully it's not necessary, and hopefully if it is necessary, it's not going to be harsh. But that is where I'm at. And I have a week left to get this done. I don't know if I can accomplish that because I don't know how much time I'm going to have to knit. especially this weekend. This weekend's going to be a bit hectic. But that's just what it is. And if I don't get it in time for, if I don't get it done in time for my brother's birthday party, that's fine. We don't get into our actual cold season until like February, like late January, early February. And then it's cold all through to the middle of March. So I still have time, and it's been really mild this year. Like, we just got our first freeze a couple days ago. And normally it's already frozen at least a couple times before now. So I'm not sure how cold it's going to get this year, and I don't know how much my brother's actually going to wear it. But he has started living in a sweat, so he'll probably get some wear out of it at the very least. So yeah, I am going to work on this, and hopefully I am going to get it done. And then I need to write up the pattern, which is going to be fun. But I will check in when I have more progress. I will try and check in once I'm done with the body and I'm at the point where I'm doing the bottom detailing. That is when I will check in. Good morning. So today is Tuesday and my brother's birthday is Thursday, and I have officially finished with colors 3 and 4. So now I've got the cake that I was talking about using before on it, and I am on the last row of the body before the applied cable. So this is how we're looking. Nice and long. Oh. It's about the same length as the sleeve right now. It will not be once it's done, because the sleeve only has 2 inches after this point. And this is going to have 4. But I should be able to get the cable done today, which I'm going to have to figure something out in order to film that process in detail, because when I was looking for how to do a horizontal cable, I couldn't find anything. I just couldn't get any information, couldn't find any patterns with that detail that weren't just like full on knit horizontal. So I am making it up as I go, and I just want to make sure that like I'm showing the process. So that's gonna be fun. But I should be able to finish this today and get it steam blocked. And then tomorrow I will decide if I need to tone it. It's not looking like I'll need to. Like, the color's pretty even. Like, you can kind of, if you're looking, you can kind of tell where I've switched colors. But the helical knitting has done a really good job of just like blending that out. So, it's going pretty well. And I'm very excited. I'm very happy with this. I think the horizontal cable is going to look sick as all get out. I think it's going to be amazing. And I definitely want to knit one for myself. Which I will need to buy yarn for at some point in the future. But that's where I'm at, and I will show you the applied cable, and then we'll get right into final product. So as you can see, I have started applying the cable, the horizontal cable braid at the bottom, and it's quite fiddly, but I think the effect is definitely worth it. So as you can see, I've got 4 needles. I've got 2 working needles. I'm using double pointeds, just because they're small and easy to maneuver. And then I have got the body stitches on the body needle and the ribbing stitches on a holder needle. And it's definitely quite fiddly. So I'm gonna do my best to explain it, but first thing we're going to do is we're going to start here, and for ease of transferring stitches, what we do is we increase knit front and back into that first stitch, and I'm going to knit front on the holder needle so that I don't have to transfer that later. So now that that's there, I'm going to take my working needle and I'm going to knit back so that I've got 3 needles in the same stitch. And when I pull that stitch off of my left-handed needle, all stitches are where they are supposed to be. Now, the fun thing about this is that the knit back actually ends up looking like a purl from the front, which creates a nice edge line, which helps gives the cable more depth. And then I'm pulling the working needle to the front, leaving my yarn in the back, and I'm just going to knit across until there's only 1 stitch left. Which is going to be 6 more stitches, so that's our cable. I believe I left out that I have 8 stitches on this needle, so I have my edge stitch, and then I have 6 stitches for the cable, then I have an edge stitch on this side, which just helps keep the cable nice and neat, and also helps me attach it. So I'm going to take this last stitch, and I'm going to move it onto the body needle. So now I have the last stitch in the row and the next body stitch, and I'm going to pull my yarn forward, or however you purl. I'm going to purl them together to get the nice clean edge on this side. And then I'm going to go ahead, and that's the right side row. To prepare the next row, I'm going to go ahead and slip purlwise one of the stitches off the body needle and then turn it. And then on this row, it's the same thing in reverse. So I'm just going to, from the back now, I'm going to knit the 2 first stitches together. So the first stitch in the row and the next stitch in the body get knitted together. And then I'm going to purl straight across until I get to the last stitch. And then I am going to knit front and back into that stitch. I have not found a clever way at this point to make sure that both stitches end up where they should be, so I'm just going to knit front and back on my working needle, and then I'm going to take that last stitch on the row, I'm going to slide it onto my holder needle. And that is both the front and the back row, so we can turn it around now. And now, whoop, we're on a cable row, which is ever so slightly more complicated. It's just a knit row, except we're doing a cable twist. So I'm going to start it the same way. We're going to knit on my holder needle front, and then knit back on my working needle. Pull my working needle to the front, drop my working needle. Without the tension of multiple stitches, it's actually kind of hard to keep that in there. So I'm going to take my cable needle. I recommend using a cable needle because it just makes your cables look a lot neater. And if you don't care about that, it's fine if you just want to like hold them or let them loose if you're not using a particularly slippy yarn, but I just think it looks neater with a cable needle. So I'm going to grab my 3 stitches for my braid and pull it forward. And then I'm going to knit the next 3 stitches. And then I'm going to put those 3 on my cable back onto my, if you can hear my cats fighting in the background, I'm sorry, back onto my left-handed needle. And just go ahead and knit those. You can use a double-pointed needle, or there's other kinds of cable needles. I'm just using this one because it's the kind that I have. I used to have ones where you could knit directly off the cable needle, but they went missing. So now that I'm at the last stitch, same as before, I'm going to slip that last stitch onto my body needle, purl 2 together, and pick up another stitch for the next row. And at this point, I just continue working in pattern, and I'm ending up with all of the stitches I'll need for the ribbing here, and all of the stitches for the body neatly attached. Similar to how you would do a button band, I guess, is kind of how I'm doing this, but with the added extra of having working stitches on the edge. So at this point, I would move my bottom stitch marker up so that I can mark what row I did that twist on, so that I can keep track, so that my cables are always even. And yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing. And like I said, it's fiddly, but it's not that bad, honestly. So I'm just going to keep doing this all the way around until I come back around to the beginning, and then we're going to connect them together, or I'm going to connect them together, and then start working the ribbing. And hopefully, it's pretty late in the day because I took a break, but hopefully I can get that done. Good morning. So last night I finished the horizontal cable on my sweater, on my brother's sweater. You can kind of almost tell where I joined because it's just a little bit elongated, but really it looks fine. Like, it's pretty good. I used a duplicate stitch to attach them the same way that you would with an I-cord. And now I'm working the ribbing, which you can't see yet because it's only 2 rows long, in 3x1, which will match the collar, but will not match the sleeves. And that's intentional because if you remember from her sweater that I showed at the beginning of the video, her sleeve ribbing, her sleeve cuff, is completely different from the neck and the body. And so I wanted to maintain that detail because I've changed so much about it. I just want to make sure that like all the visual points are where they should be, because none of the lengths or the fits are the same. So today is my brother's birthday, but his party isn't till Saturday. So while I was hoping to get it done today so that I could give it to him today, I'm gonna, or get it done yesterday so that I could give it to him today. That's not gonna happen. I might get it done today and then finish it off, steam it tomorrow, and then have it ready for Saturday. Which is not going to be hard to do because I've got 3 inches left, and then the bind off, and then it's ready to steam. The horizontal cable was very fiddly and took me a lot longer than I thought it would, but of course it is. It's back and forth knitting over 8 stitches with increases and decreases constantly, and cables, and it was like well over 100 rows. It was over 200 rows actually, because when I separated for the sleeves and body, I ended up with 116 on the front and back, and then I cast on 9 under each underarm. So that's 232 plus 18. That's 250. So I had to do 250 rows of this, which is a lot. It's probably not exactly that. I'm just guessing based off memory. At some point I need to count the stitches, but I have just decided that I don't care right now. So I am going to continue knitting. Hopefully get this done today. We are going to genealogy club at the library at 2, which is the big thing that my brother wanted to do. And then after genealogy club, we're going to go pick up his friend from another town, and then we're going to go down to the church and we're going to just have cake and hang out. And then Saturday, the plan is to go bowling, which is cool because while a cabled sweater like this, you would normally photograph in, and I probably will photograph in, like, nice green area. We don't have very many of those. It's the desert. Or like cozy atmospheres. Because this is a JoJo sweater, I'm really wanting to get some like bowling pictures and some arcade pictures. Because I just think that'll be the vibes. So I'm gonna keep knitting this, and I will check back in when it's finished. Good morning. So today is Saturday, which is the day we were supposed to go bowling. And I literally just rolled out of bed and picked this up, so you'll have to excuse my hair. But I have reached the point in this project where I don't want to work on it anymore. I'm done. Which is one of the hazards of marathon knitting and like not taking breaks, is like, this is the only thing I have going, so anytime I want to knit or I'm going somewhere where like I want to have something to keep my hands busy, it has to be this. Which means I have gotten a lot of progress on it, but it also means that like picking it up has become a chore. And so I didn't knit on it at all yesterday, which is not good, because I thought I had like 6 rows left of ribbing. I'm like, I'm just not into that today. And so I picked it up this morning. I only had 2 rows, and I've already knit one of them. I'm literally at the bore now, so I have 1 more row of ribbing, and then the bind off, and then this sweater is done. I could have gotten that done so early yesterday, and then I would have had plenty of time to block it, but it's fine because my baby cousin has a basketball game today. It was supposed to be yesterday, but it got moved to today, so we're not going bowling until Monday, which is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, which is fun. So I will be able to get this done before I even do chores today, really, because this is not a lot of knitting. It just feels grueling because I'm doing the same thing over and over, and there's been nothing interesting, which does not bode well for all the dresses I want to knit, but I'll just have to keep those in the background. But getting back on task, so I'm 1 row shy of 3 inches of ribbing, and it's the 3x1 that's on the collar, and it looks so good. So I'm very excited, and I'll be able to steam this today and get it washed, and then I need to make my brother a birthday card, which Maybe it's because I've spent the last 3 weeks doing nothing but knitting on this stupid cable sweater. It's not stupid. I've enjoyed the process except for this last tiny little bit. And it's not because I haven't enjoyed it, it's because I haven't done anything else. Cat just climbed on me. But I cannot think of anything clever. So I'm probably just going to do like a very basic card. Put his favorite character on it. Call it a day. Which is difficult to pick, but I know who I'm picking. Man, the angles I do for this video are just not good. So, finally, it's done. Obviously, you can see I still have ends to weave in. But that's gonna wait till later. So, I don't have to work on this anymore. For now. I do have to write the pattern, and then I do want to knit another sample in a better yarn. As you can see, it looks, you can't really tell on camera, but you can tell a lot in person. It looks a little bit grungy because it's light cream to dark cream, which does not look clean. But I'm going to put it on to show you. So, this is how it is. The sleeves are longer than I would wear them, but that's what my brother likes. This, okay, if there was just one cable here, like if it was rotated just a little bit, it would be exactly her sweater. But this looks so good. And when I steam it, all these cables are going to relax, so it's going to sit a lot nicer. And then, I'm going to try and show you the hem cable. That is just, it's so good. It's so good. I'm very happy with this sweater. Does need to be steamed though, because it is stiff as a board. And my brother is a normal size. I shouldn't say that. My brother is not fat. My brother is a healthy weight for his build. So it does not fit him that tight. It's ever so slightly oversized. But I want to see if I can lighten it, so I'm going to give it a toner bath. I think I'm going to steam it first, just to get it to relax, and then I'm going to give it a toner bath, and then I'm going to throw it through the washer and dryer, which will steam it a second time. But I'm hoping that'll just, like, even out the color and, make it nicer to wear, is my hope, at least. So I'm gonna go do that, and I will show you what it looks like once it's done. The sweater is done now. It's so much softer and nicer after steaming and washing it. The soak, I think, got rid of some of the yellow, but not really a lot. I think if I wanted to actually get that to work, because this is acrylic, I needed to actually heat it up and do it that way. And I'm not gonna play around with that. It's fine if it looks a little dingy. It's not the first time I've made a sweater that looked dingy due to using secondhand yarn, but it looks so nice, and it's so good. Everything's relaxed out, and I'm very pleased with this. So today we are going bowling, and so I'm gonna go give this to my brother now, and I will insert some footage of us at the bowling alley. I will make my brother take it and wear it for at least some pictures. It's probably too warm today. But yeah, I'm very happy with this. So I actually filmed the last clip over a month ago. It is the 26th of February right now, and I finished this sweater on the 14th of January, and my brother's birthday is the 15th. So at the time of recording this, he has already received it and he's already tried it on, and I do have some worn footage of it and some photographs and notes. So, as you saw, the pattern did not end up working out. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's, error on my side, if it's just the type of yarn I was using. I'm not sure. But I did end up having to completely scrap and repattern most of the sweater. But if you remember, I kept the collar, which ended up being a massive mistake. So the collar is too large. So I have to, at some point, go in and carefully remove my fold over and cast on and take the whole collar out, decrease around the neckline, and then reknit the collar so that it actually fits like a mock neck. I also kept the short rows from the original pattern, which is another thing that I should not have done because they were insufficient. There were only 2 short rows, well, 2 sets of short rows, 4 short rows in total in the pattern. And I don't know if this is just a proportion thing with my family, but I found that when my brother was wearing it, it was gaping in the back and it was like pulling down. So that's something that needs to be fixed. And even after all that kerfuffle with the sleeves, they still ended up being about 3 inches too short. And I'm not sure what happened because I was continuously measuring them on his arms. But so I need to rip back the sleeves and rip back the cuff and add 3 more repeats on the sleeve, which actually does work out because the yarn I ended up adding to the body is not on the sleeves, and so it ends up looking a little bit weird because you've got that gradual darkening and yellowing, which is unfortunate, but it's just the yarn that I had over the sweater as it goes down, and then it just gets really harsh at the bottom of the body because there's nothing on the sleeves in that. So when I reknit it, the 3 inches is going to be about the cuff, so I'm going to use up the cuff yarn in the cables, and then the new cuff is going to be the same as the ribbing on the body in the same yarn. So I was hoping to get this pattern written up and like put out for people to make, but because these are such, the sleeves obviously are fine, make them to whatever length you want. I don't actually need to pattern that part, but because it is top down and it starts at the neckline and the neckline is not done after, I have to completely rethink the neckline and the short rows. But that was me knitting the first attempt of the Costello sweater, and hopefully there will be more to follow, more attempts. Not sure if I'll record those, but at some point I am hoping to get the pattern written up. So that's where we stand. So like it if you like, comment what you're working on down below, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.